The real power of object-oriented design comes when you start making instance methods. Instance methods act on an instance of the class. It acts on an object. Now, the way that you know that you've made an instance method is that it's not static. Okay, so we instead of having this static that we've had, now we don't, and that's saying that it's going to be acting on an object. I mentioned this earlier. Um, Usually these have fewer parameters than we normally would have because it's already being fed in all of these attributes. Okay, that doesn't mean it can't have parameters. We'll very often have parameters here, but um, we can use this instance variable, this variable that belongs to the object that we're acting on. And it knows which one because it knows which object that we're acting on. So we have a very similar method here. So let's take a look at how we would call a method like this. So we've created two circles. The first circle is called circ, and then we've got circ2. So if I want to call area, I have to start with, instead of the class name, I start with the object name. So for a static method, we would start with the class name, but for non-static, I start with what is the object that I'm acting on, dot the name of the method. So I'm saying I want the area of circ. I want the circumference of circ. And when I call for the area of circ, which radius am I going to use? Well, I'm going to use the radius from circ. Okay, I'm going to use this 10. So when it asks for the radius, that's the radius that it's going to give it. Now, when I call area on circ2, it's going to use 1 because that was my default radius here. But it knows which radius to use because it grabs the object. It grabs all of the attributes when it does that. Okay. Let's look at how a static method might look if we did that. So I could do public static double area. But if I do that, I'm going to need a double r or radius or whatever. And I would have to do this. Okay. And to call it, I would have to say probably name it something else. Call it area 2. I would call on the class. But now I don't have that attribute being fed in, so I'm going to need to put in some sort of parameter there. Okay, so look at the difference between calling a static method that belongs to the class and a non-static method that belongs to the object. Okay, again, object name, class name. So there you go.